welcome back to Sim UK and Airport Master. There's been an update in the last couple of days. We're now up to version 0.2.0A. So this is pretty good. Now, the review that I put together last week had quite a bit of decent feedback from you guys. I'm glad to see that you can overlook the EULA incident that occurred previously. And I think you can see also that this game does have an awful lot of potential, and it is incredibly early access even now with this update. But let's jump in and have a look. Now, I must say, before I jump in, I haven't looked at this at all. So I know not of what's going to happen or how it's going to look. But there appears to be a key decision to make as soon as I load the game. Now, the previously saved game that I had is not compatible with this version, so that's been deleted and I'll be starting a new game from now. But I thought we'd talk through it and experience it at the same time, so that's what I'm going to do right now. So as you can see, we're presented with this screen, which is vastly different from the start screen that we received before. Congratulations on your appointment as Appleton Regional Airport General Manager. Now, the predominant or the key element to this update appears to be surrounding the General Manager and the career element therein. I'll continue. On behalf of the Board of Directors and all employees, allow me to welcome you to your new office. Before you start your first day at this job, please kindly introduce yourself. So, we're actually going to enter our name. You can see one minor issue there is some things don't perfectly line up. Now, the facial images that we have here are interesting. This guy looks like a wolfman. Very interesting set of faces, I have to say. Some of them fairly realistic. Some of them need a bit of work. But again, this is early access. I don't think you can read too much into anything, to be perfectly honest with you. I'm going to go with this guy here, just because, I don't know, I felt like it. Now, we get to select here our background. Former airline manager, aviation standards specialists, former airline pilot, trade union speaker, or oil company manager. Now, I don't know what the implications of picking any of these are, but I'm going to go with former airline pilot. Aha! Okay, now I do know. Airline pilots less likely to give your service worse ratings. Minus 10% mitigation of negative rating change, plus 10% increase for positive rating change. So we will get increased or better feedback from pilots. Let's look at the airline manager. You easily find common ground with airline managers when negotiating prices and time slots. You charge 10% more on contracts, and time slots, are more flexible. That sounds interesting. Aviation Standards Specialist. All upgrades of airport equipment and facilities, excluding business upgrades, cost us 10% less. These are good options. Your experience in negotiating workforce demands allows you to pay smaller salaries without affecting workers' happiness. Minus 10 on all salaries. To be fair, I wouldn't want to be that guy. Oil company manager. Your connections in oil trading network allow you to get 10% cheaper prices at refineries for both Jet 1A and 100LL types of fuel. Ah. Okay. Well, I'm going to stick with the pilot because that feels more natural to me. Efficiency optimizer. You get permanent discount, 10% on all airport business upgrades. Okay. Spirit of Petroni. I really wish they'd changed this font because sometimes it's difficult to read it. It just needs spacing out a bit. The font itself is fine, just needs to be spaced out a bit more. So with this, you get 10% more profits on hangar maintenance of aircraft and 10% discount on any maintenance works in the airport. And that's a good point, actually, because I showed you the maintenance hangars in the previous video, but there was nothing really going on there. This is another step towards proving or explaining that will be a significant source of revenue if managed correctly. Appealing looks. You know your way with opposite gender. Each time you negotiate a contract or hire someone of opposite gender to work at the airport, you get a 10% discount. I don't really know what to say about that. Sounds like sexism is still alive and well. That's all I can say there. Big spender. Your rule of thumb is anything you feed will grow. You follow it throughout your career and keep spending money. For each 100,000 you spend, you get a 10,000k bonus. Why on earth would you get that? That really confuses me. That's a strange one. What's next? Iron discipline. Now, if anything, I think this is mostly me. Let's see here. You take your time to make sure every job in the airport is done on time. 10% reduction on all passenger and aircraft service job times. That sounds perfect to me. When you are fully satisfied with your name and persona, please press start. I will do that right now. So that's changed. That's an interesting addition. And I guess I'm going to have to investigate and see what else has changed here. Okay, so the airport itself seems to be very similar. We have a swing around over here. There's no significant changes to anything that I can see. There's a few new aircraft that have been added, which I'll discuss as we come across them. Yeah, this is the Bombardier Challenger Cl 650. Very nice it is too. Again, it's got these slightly greyed out windows. Oh, I can hear the Jenny, the electric gen. That's cool. I think maybe they've improved the audio engine. That's the same as before. That's the Max 50. What do we have here? Pontius PC13. Wow, there is a lot of good stuff coming. There really is. Okay, what do we have here? So this is the tower. Holy moly nutsacks. What is this? Well, I know what it is, but that wasn't there before. That's new. That's huge. Still, the mouse is way oversensitive. But better that than undersensitive, perhaps. Oh, we've got some set prices. Yep. Will do. We'll charge a tad more. What's going on here? Oh, that's interesting. I cannot change the price at which we sell. I can only change... That's weird. I'm sure it asked me to change Jet 1A, but maybe it didn't. So we'll change 100 LL. 132, that will do. Administration. Oh, this has changed as well. This is new. This is better. This is definitely better. I wouldn't say it was quite modern standards, but certainly that's an improvement on what was there before. That's a definite step in the right direction. This is looking very neat and tidy now. That's easy to look at. In fact, I think this is new airport statistics. There's an awful lot I've got to think about here. Go to your office. Oh my gosh. This is my office. And that's an office, all right. Oh, look at this. Oh, this is cool. Can you open the blinds? Oh, not yet. Not yet. Maybe one day. Wow, this mouse. Okay, nothing's really clickable. Can I set my seat? No, not yet. Hopefully, someday all that will be available to us. Oh, blimey, O'Reilly. Can you click through the doors? No. I don't know if that's something that's going to be implemented. Probably not, I'd have thought. But okay. Pretty good stuff so far. This looks largely the same. Although that bing bong bing's new. I do believe something's been done with the cafeteria. Oh, hello. I can do things with the... Do you know, I think this might have been available beforehand. I just didn't know it was here. Hire more cooks. At the moment we have one cook. It doesn't look like we can hire any new cooks from here. Can we try this? Oh yes. Oh, that's how you hire a new cook. Okay. Okay. Upgrade cooking skills. Add more bar stools. Oh, hang on. Let's try this. So how many do we have at the moment? 2. Okay. If I click here and say add more bar stools, upgraded. Now we have 3. Let's do one more. I do think $800 for a bar stool is a bit much, but what do I know? Do one more and we'll do a table. How much money do I actually have, by the way? I think something that's really, really important that needs to happen in the next update is that you can see how much money you have whilst you're making financial decisions, because unless I'm completely not seeing it, that information is not available on this page, and that is a mistake. But look at this, we have a table. 3 tables now. Not sure how many we had before. That is a nice feature. Now unfortunately, because there isn't a tutorial, I was unaware that I could do this, but now that I know I can, I'm going to be looking for clicky type things here, there and everywhere, sort of all over the place. Honestly, this mouse is so aggressive. Oh, that's not the airport. There it is. Look at that. I actually think that's pretty smart. I'm one of the types of people who would quite happily go and sit at the in the lounge at the local airport. Local airport to me, incidentally, is Bournemouth, where you can do this and just go and watch the aircraft take off. In fact, take my daughter down there a few times a year and we do just that, in fact. Right, what's this thing here that I need to do? Administration, aeronautical fees. Landing fee per 1 metric ton. We'll bump that up just a bit. We'll say $15. I think that's reasonable. Movement fee per 1 metric ton. Okay. Security fee per 1 passenger. £2.51 per passenger. $2.70 per passenger. It's an important thing, security. What else do we have here? Flight school. Okay, this looks much the same. Price theory per hour. Yeah, we'll go $40. It would be nice actually if you could click on this and enter the value yourself rather than using the sliders. I don't really like sliders that much. Price per 1 hour flight, $120. That seems fine. So although there's a clicky option on these, they don't seem to do anything. Now this keeps popping up and I haven't really figured out what to do with this. It's over here obviously. Maybe if we go into the building. No. Not a clue. We'll just have to skip it as we did before, because I don't know what's going on now. This is an area that's supposedly changing. Oh, I can't seem to click on it though. Excuse me, bit of a sneeze there. There doesn't seem to be anything clickable on there. What's going on here? Flight school roster planning. Well, everything seems to be clickable to a point. Not everything is functional at the moment, but again, it's very, very early. What's this? Departure. PRV 852 at 0920. What time is it now? Crikey, look, I spent nearly all of our money. That was silly. 0920. Oh, okay. I think then this just brings me up to 0920. Let me just see here. Yes, it does. Takes me right up to 0920. So now, this aircraft, oh goody, it is the new one, requires refueling and food, and presumably passengers as well. What can we see about this aircraft? Aircraft is currently serviced pre-flight. Pre-flight services include fuel, catering, baggage and passengers, of course. Fuel on board is 1,151 litres. 0 passengers, 0 baggage. Food rations on board, 0. Interesting. Here comes the cart. Canonier Contender CT550 is the latest version of a very popular large private corporate jet famous for its deluxe roomy interior and intercontinental range. Inspired by early ideas of Bill Lear and further developed over decades of faithful service, the Contender incorporates supercritical wing design, wide fuselage and performance recognised by many countries, navies, airportal, emergency agencies. It looks like that continues off further on down here, but it's being cut out because it doesn't fit into this space. And I think there's a typo there. Airportal. I think that's meant to say air patrol, emergency agencies. But still, regardless, it looks very nice. And I see they haven't taken on my idea of having these rows going in opposite directions, but then there was only about, well, less than a week between my suggestion being made and this update being released, so that's pretty understandable, I guess. So that's cool. That seems to be working fine. Let's go see if this... Oh no, this hasn't been updated yet. This is still green upon green upon green, which does need to change, I think. The new layout that I've seen in other places fills me with confidence. I thought I saw something change or move over here just then. Not sure if I did. Could have been just seeing things. Now, I haven't been paying attention down here to the comments, but hopefully you guys have. What else would be nice, incidentally, is if you select one of these aircraft, it would be nice if this here indicated which one you were looking at, just for ease of use. Let's keep an eye on this bad boy for now. Whilst oh, here come the baggages. Still no driver, but that's okay. NPCs are not expected yet. I do rather think they could have loaded them on there a bit neater. Slightly more neatly, I should say. But we'll let that go. I'm actually getting used to the click to look approach. It works really well. There's no delay. It's completely instant, as long as you don't miss like I just did then. It's good. It's really, it's turning into a really decent product, and with the price as low as it is now, I think this could turn into a real bargain. Let me have a look here and see what else we can talk about. So we've got the new aircraft, the Canonier Contender, the CT550 or CT55 as it's referred to, and that's the one there that we're just loading up. Fixed a very rare yet serious bug when an aircraft that has executed a mission approach, then landed, taxied to the parking, then would not notify ATC of required services. Okay, so there was a bug there that I hadn't even spotted. Added full support for for thrust reversers. This is good. This means they're bringing in larger aircraft. I mean, I know they are anyway, but it sounds like this is stage 1. So what does it say about reversers? Reversers operate on a very realistic basis. Deployment and retraction times are configurable for each type of thrust reverser, as well as spooling time. All existing types of thrust reversers, target type, clamshell and coldstream bypass, are supported. The crew utilises thrust reversers if aircraft is equipped from firm touchdown of main and front landing gear to about 40 knots landing roll speed. Noise levels produced by operation of various types of reverse thrusters are also simulated. That just emphasises the amount of detail that they're going into. They're not just having thrust reversers, but they're having a variation of thrust reversers, which obviously have an impact on speed, reduction of speed, I should say, noise levels, and performance. And obviously, presumably, there's going to be a restriction. The runway we have here is 1,300 metres, and some of the very larger aircraft simply won't be able to land here. So this is good. This is really, really, really promising good stuff, I think. What else do we have? Vehicles. Fixed a very unlikely to manifest bug. Okay. Terminology they use is interesting, but okay. They fixed a bug that doesn't happen very often. When game is saved, while a vehicle driver starts the engine, about 3 seconds in all, the data on vehicle state gets saved incorrectly. So I'm having to translate slightly here. Indicated that the engine is not running, which in turn caused the vehicle in question, once such saved game is reloaded, to stay idle indefinitely and not driving. This is now fixed. Now if the game, basically now that works. Okay, good. Meteor, wind direction, speed and gust component with more than 5 knots of wind speed component are now correctly shown in both the METAR and the decoded METAR. Awesome. Is that passengers? I think I can hear passengers. Yes it is, there we go. Still we have no NPCs, but that's a work in progress, that's on the way. So this aircraft should be loading up and ready to leave reasonably soon. What else can I tell you? Oh, there's a mention about sounds. New real-world engine sounds for our new CT-55 aircraft. Huge thanks to Tony, who was able to record very clear and distinctive sound of the GE CF34 3B engine on real CL604 starting up. Idle thrust, revving up and down and shut down just outside maintenance hangar on a quiet day. The new sound set for CT-55 sounds great. Ooh. Well, we've focused in on this aircraft, so looking forward to hearing that. What else can I tell you? Sound spread ranges for all types of aircraft have been rebalanced again. That's good, I think. It sounds better already, certainly. The way it was in 0.19 was pretty good. I'm not so sure about that. But we went too far on reducing the ranges for piston engines and small turboprops. It's absolutely unrealistic. That's someone staying in the control tower about 11 meters elevation would hear a piston-powered Zenat pass by and then would stop hearing it the moment it turns from D to C. Okay, yeah, okay, so they've tweaked that, that's fine. Sound spread ranges modified for all ground vehicles, significantly reduced for more realistic sound spread effect. That's the improvement that I'm hearing. Like this passenger transport that's coming in right now. Sounds much better. It's not overpowering anymore. New ambient people crowd sounds to passenger terminal. Yes, I noticed that as well. And the bing bong. Added ambient people eating and chatting sounds to cafeteria area. I must say I didn't notice that, but maybe we'll check that out later. Increase the value by which glass and concrete walls block sound distribution. That's a good thing. The result is that the player will hear more faint sounds coming from outside the buildings, PAX terminal, GM's office, control tower, etc. And full volume sound when exiting those buildings and going into airport view. That's good. That is good. One thing you can't do that would be nice is to walk between these places. That I don't know if that's going to be simulated or not. It might retain this click and maneuver type thing and this ability to fly around, which is okay. It's not bad, but it would be nice if you had the option to just walk from one building to the other. Don't know if that's going to ever happen, but we'll see. Any more sounds? Sorry, every time I scroll down to look at something, the game alters its own perspective. Let's make sure we stay on this CT-55. That would be the coach shutting its doors, so this should be starting up any moment now. Aircrafts receiving ground services are now marked with a light grey colour in ATC flight strips. You can see that here. I wondered what that grey meant. So that's because the ground services are currently servicing this aircraft. That's good. That's a nice feature. Changed display time of game tips on game loading screen from 3 seconds to 5 seconds per tip. I genuinely have no idea what that means. Not to Scoobies. Now I'm going to have to scroll up, so the view's going to be a bit weird. ATC updates fixed a very rare and dangerous bug that would allow ATC to make time skip possible whilst aircraft that has previously been marked as going around, executing a mixed approach, as you know, would not request ground service. This may have led to dramatic delays in service and thus inadvertent dramatic lowering of players' airport rating with aircraft owner airline. This is now fixed, and that's good. We never really got that into the game to test that out. Oh, here we go. This aircraft's about to start up. Actually, refueling may take a little while. I'll carry on. The tower now gives wind direction, speed and gust component in takeoff and landing clearance correctly. Intersection Monet repositioned further to the east, hence stars. Monet 8Y and Monet 3B changed. SIDS, Monet 1D and Monet 5C have also been changed. So that's the SIDS and stars, which I don't think as yet that you have any way of viewing. But I could be wrong. That might just be something that I haven't yet discovered. Overall times for arrivals to complete stars from Monet and Linter are now smaller, allowing for more tense ATC workload when arrivals from both of these intersections are cleared and roughly the same time slots. It feels to me like we should be able to play as ATC if we wish. But at the moment it just seems fully automated. Now that could be something I'm doing wrong. It might be a feature of the game whilst in development. I don't know. What else have we got? Following TMA entry, exit points for VFR flights have been added. PTW West entry, exit point of TMA. Changed range at which app hands off departing IFR traffic to CTR. This is important for aircraft climbing with smaller gradient. There is a lot of detail here. There is a lot of detail here. What else have we got? Oh my gosh, there's lots. Right, let's start here. Fixed a bug in the initial game start state which caused FISHR aircraft to the flight to file flight plan for arrival and departure at the same time, which caused ATC Logic's lockup. When new game started from state 3, now fixed. Okay, good. Added ground power units, GPUs on A stands. Yes, I noticed those. GPUs are there. Currently this is purely eye candy, but in future versions player will be able to choose between allowing prolonged onboard auxiliary power APU operations. This saves money on installing GPUs versus higher noise factor, or installing GPUs on larger aircraft parking stands and thus reducing noise pollution by allowing only limited time onboard APU operation. Again, see, these things at the moment it's eye candy, but there's a plan for it. I mean, this is going to be such a good game. Radar display unit installed in control tower. Do you know, I think I might have missed that. Oh no, it was that enormous thing placed in the middle. Yes, I recall that now. The model is a replica of the last generation dedicated radar display. Some are still in use around the world, yet many are now replaced by the common 16:9 digital monitors. I can't imagine why they wanted to get rid of that enormous radar scanner, but there you go. Surveillance radar is now fully operational and provides accurate primary radar sweep and secondary ADS-CBS transponder readback data on screen. Outstanding. Fixed cafeteria. Number of tables upgrade enabling 4th table prematurely. Okay. So we just tested out the cafeteria, so that's good. Upgrading level of skill of cafeteria now cooks now not just broadens the menu but also results in salary raise to already hired cooks and cooks hired after the skill upgrades. Okay, that's fine. Cafeteria is now correctly accounts for orders placed and served during the time skip interval. Immediately after time skip is completed, probability of new order is being placed increases. Same is true for the nighttime break period between 3 and 5 a.m. at the cafeteria becoming to an end to simulate with high probability customers waiting for cafe to reopen. Interesting. Cafeteria orders allow for various types of order type, e.g. drink, food, drink and a meal, drink plus 2 meals, etc. Interesting. Cafeteria workflow has changed. Income now is now generated upon customer making an order, not finishing eating his meal. For better precision on the time skip approximations, cost of ingredients is deducted by cook at the completion of cooking now. Excellent. Added statistics module that accumulates game stats on all aspects of airport life, from a number of meals and drinks served in cafeteria to runway operations per day. IFR and VFR clearance is issued, management decisions, etc., etc. Currently more than 40 statistical parameters are monitored and calculated in real time. In future versions, the list of statistical parameters will be further extended to over 150, more than 150, and player achievements and city mayor tasks, quests in career mode, will base upon this statistical data. Full. Added 5 career backgrounds and 5 GM specialities, perks, to choose from when creating a character on the new start. Player can have active bonus from 1 career background and speciality. Note, not all bonuses work correctly. Some do, some await integration with more in-depth economy game mechanics to be gradually introduced in version blah blah blah, next 2 or 3 versions. Pretty good. How long is this aircraft going to refuel for? Come on now. We want to hear the sounds of this aircraft. If it's cool, we're going to give it a big thumbs up. I don't think there's much else I need to really discuss with you today. Just going to have a swig of tea. That was coffee. Oh, here we go. The truck is moving on. We should hear this CT-55 fire up pretty soon. Sorry, this one's been mostly about chatting, isn't it? But we'll watch this aircraft take off, and that'll probably be the end for today. I don't think there's much else to show you. But again, a massive step forward. Oh, what's that? Thought I heard the engine starting up there. So guys, what do you think of this update? Do you think it's a step in the right direction? Do you think this game does have potential? Do you think it's... if we just ignore the EULA, I don't really want to discuss that so much. But the game itself, do you think it's got potential? Do you think this has the capacity and the capability to be really in-depth and entertaining? I certainly do. I hope you agree. But yeah, let me know in the comments. And also, if there's anything in particular you'd like me to investigate in the next video, just mention that and I'll do some research on it and make sure that we cover it in the video as well. So, again, not forgetting that this is effectively working in real time. We are quite literally going to have to be patient and wait for this to request startup, I guess. And incidentally, we've now gone up to 10,000k and they still haven't fixed this. I think that looks ugly. We really need to get rid of these trailing zeros. They're not trailing, are they? What's the alternative? They're in front. Can't think of the word. Goodness me. But anyway, that's not a big deal. Just an annoyance. Come on, aircraft. Really nicely modelled, I have to say. The windows aside, looks really good. I think the fuel truck is just parking up Okay, so positively, yes. Okay, ground services have finished. This aircraft is about to start. Requesting IFR. Being cleared for IFR. Startup is approved. See the flaps, they're testing the flaps out. Pre-flight checks, look at this guys. I'm really impressed with that. The sound is brilliant, you can see each individual engine starting up. See the spooling going, oh yes, very impressed. It's even moving fairly realistically, I'd say. Okay, the arse end shouldn't be sliding out like that. That seems to be turning in a slightly weird way, but we'll let that pass. Sound-wise, very impressive. I like the fact that the two engines started independently. The pilot appeared to do a test of all that really needs to stop sliding around like that. That's quite funny. Yeah, I'm really quite impressed with that. There's no jet coming out of the engines, which I assume will be added at a later date. You wouldn't go to this much effort to then avoid something coming out of the engines there. But very, very tidy. I think we'll watch this aircraft take off and we'll call that a wrap. But yeah, definitely they need to sort out the steering. Seems that the rear wheels turn as opposed to the front. I think that's quite an easy thing to fix. But it just looks too odd at the moment. Maybe it's just a short-term solution, but yes, it looks too odd right now. One thing I like, incidentally, in the first episode, in the initial review that I didn't really mention or clarify, was that as aircraft taxi and park, they don't park perfectly every single time. There is a slight difference between the way each aircraft is parked. And I think that's good because it adds an extra layer of realism. Sometimes they're a little bit further forward, sometimes they're a little bit further to the left or the right. Now I'm not sure if that's intentional, but it looked good. It made it more realistic in my opinion. So if that's a bug, if that's a fault within the system, I think it's one that they should keep because it makes for a very interesting and realistic experience. I'm interested to hear how this sounds during takeoff. I'm interested as well to see how the takeoff looks, bearing in mind that it does slide its backside out rather than the front. It's sort of got like a tail wheel at the back. Is kind of how it's manoeuvring. ATC giving clearance for takeoff. It looks fantastic. It sounds really good. Is it tail draggers? I was trying to think of what's the colloquial name for aircraft with two wheels at the front and one at the back? Is it tail draggers? That's how it manoeuvres, like one of those. That's what I was trying to say. A bit incoherent and babblish today, I do apologise. Looking very nice. Now, is ATC going to give it takeoff clearance, or has that already happened? I missed that. Yep, looks like they're giving clearance now. I think we need a box around this as well, because that's very difficult to read. Oh, getting close to the end of the runway. There we go. V1, gear up. Outstanding. As soon as the pilot is satisfied, it seems to have levelled out rather quickly. We'll be bringing those flaps up, no doubt. There they go. So that's pretty much it for today, guys. Seems to have been an awful lot of new features added, and obviously this new aircraft and the new audio, very nice indeed. I think this is definitely one to watch, definitely one to keep your eye on, and definitely one to consider. As it progresses, I think the quality is really going to start to shine through. Well, I'm very impressed. Let me know in the comments how you feel about this game. And until next time, take good care of yourselves and goodbye for now.